Hi everybody, it's Dan Ferris, editor of Extreme Value, which is published by www.stansberryresearch.com. This video is inspired by a similar thing that inspires many of my ideas for videos, which is the news. And specifically, the news that Oprah Winfrey ought to run for president. This is a story that's going around, and it's been reported repeatedly since she gave a speech at the Golden Globe Awards Sunday night. This is a silly item, and it's not worth nearly the attention that the news media pays to it. And because they pay so much attention to it, too much attention, you pay too much attention to it. And in fact, I could say that about almost every story on the news. Because you and I, we pay too much attention to the news in general. We should avoid news. Avoid it entirely. You should not watch news on TV, and you should be very careful about the news that you consume online. This is a radical prescription, and I didn't come up with it on my own. In fact, it was inspired by a piece that you can read for free online called Avoid News by a fellow named Rolf Dobelli, D-O-B-E-L-L-I. Just type Rolf Dobelli, Avoid News, and it'll take you right to a PDF copy of the piece. I highly, highly recommend that you read it, and I highly, highly recommend that you take it seriously. Avoid news. I don't know anybody who doesn't avoid news who couldn't benefit from this. In other words, everybody I know who consumes plenty of news could stand to clear up their thinking by avoiding news. This is something that is universal. And I'll just give you a little taste of the piece, which I have on my computer here in front of me. Dobelli writes, as a result of news, we walk around with the completely wrong risk map in our heads. And he gives some examples of what he means by this. For example, terrorism is overrated, chronic stress is underrated. Another example, astronauts are overrated, nurses are underrated, airplane crashes are overrated, resistance to antibiotics is underrated, and then there's some other examples as well. And he continues, and this is really the point, we are not rational enough to be exposed to the news-mongering press. It's an insight about human nature. And at the end of this paragraph, he says, bankers and economists who have powerful incentives to compensate for news-borne hazards have shown that they cannot compensate for it, despite their substantial incentives to do so. The only solution, cut yourself off from news consumption entirely. It sounds radical, but I know people who have done it and they benefited, and their thinking has cleared up quite a bit. I'd like to say I'm one of them, but I haven't consistently been able to do it. Obviously, because I'm sitting here reacting to the news in this video, right? I don't think you can completely get news out of your life in that regard, but you can systematically avoid it. And I promise you, you will systematically improve your thinking to the degree to which you would avoid news. You'll free your mind up from this constant onslaught of meaningless trivia, like whether or not Oprah's going to run for president. Read the piece by Dobelli. Rolf Dobelli, Avoid News. Read it, do it. I promise you it'll make you a better thinker and ultimately a better investor. So I'll talk to you next time. Bye.